Hey Anna, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I had some people email me with very specific questions, but I was just going to wait to see if anybody showed up
Okay.
before I kind of started on those. The ones I got emailed about were 29, 36, 37, 44, 45, and 52.
Okay.
Um, um, I don't know if you want me to text those and the things so you can see them, but what were your questions?
Specifically like 26 through 29 and then 34 through 37, just like how to do that in general.
26 through 29, and then repeat the second one. I'm sorry, honey.
Like 34 through 37, like I just don't know how to set it up, like those types of questions.
Okay. All right. Well, those definitely fall within the categories of the other ones. So we'll just kind of get started with those.
Yeah.
I'll start on 26 and kind of we'll work our way through the worksheet.
Okay.
I always like it better when somebody shows up instead of just talking to air. I'll do it, but I always like, oh, please let somebody show up.
Yeah.
It just feels a little more comfortable. But
Mhm.
anyway, so write a formula for the arithmetic sequence and find the indicated value. So on these, we're supposed to find A1 on number 26. So what you're going to want to do is take the information that you have and put it in the formula so that you can figure out what you don't have. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
okay, so we know we have the value of the 31st term. So we'll plug in the value of the 31st term on the left-hand side because you're kind of working with, I'm just going to write this up here just to remind us of what we're working with.
Okay.
That's the arithmetic sequence formula. So what we know is the value of the 31st term, so that we're going to fill that in for the A sub n. We also know the common difference, which is -3, so we'll plug that in. And then we also know that this right here, the n minus 1, is going to be that 31 minus 1. But I'll just plug that in to kind of show you what that looks like. What we don't know and what we're trying to find is actually the A1. But everything else we did know. So basically all we're doing is solving for the variable, if you will, A1, or the value that would be A1. Okay. So we'll just distribute -3 times 30 is going to be a -90. And then we'll add 90 to both sides. Like that. We get -18 equals A sub 1.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we found the value, and then it says to write the formula as well. So what you would do for that is just take what we know is going to be the common difference. And now we know what that A sub 1 is. That value, it's a -18. And then -3 times n is -3n, and -3 times a -1 is +3. So you would have -3n, and then +3 minus 18 is going to be a -15. So I don't even think this is on the answer key, to be honest with you. But it says to write the formula. So I guess I just wanted to make sure that you guys are understanding how to do that, because I know that's on the test tomorrow. Okay. Even though that wasn't on the actual answer key, this is the formula for that. And you could have found the formula first, but obviously since it's really giving you what you need to know. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. Am I good to erase all of that now?
Yes.
Okay, good. I don't want to erase it too early. All right, so for number 27, we're given the value of the 14th term, and we're given the common difference. So once again, we'll just plug in what we know into the formula, and we know that the value of the 14th term is 15. We know the common difference is 9. And then you're going to have n minus 1, which would be 14 minus 1. And then we're going to do plus a 1. 15, 9 times 13 plus a 1. And that's 117.
Yes.
And then subtract 117 from both sides. And we get a negative 102 equals a 1.
Okay.
And so then we'll substitute our difference, n minus 1 minus 102. I could do a plus 102, but I'm just going to do it that way. Is that okay? Is that confusing for you? Okay. 9n minus 9 minus 102. So 9n minus 111. And so then we'll stick in a 4 at the 9 because we're looking for the 4th term.
Okay.
And what did you get?
I got negative 75.
Negative 75?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Am I good to erase?
Yes.
I have to use my calculator on my iPhone, so sometimes my iPhone does not cooperate with me well. So let's see. So I'm just going to rewrite the answers here.
Okay.
The formula was 9n minus 111 and the 4th term. And I don't think that was actually even on the answer sheet. I think she only found the term. I don't think she actually found, like yesterday when I posted in class the answers for the first few. I don't know if I got to this part anyway. I don't think I did get to this part yesterday. They're not even on the answer key. So even if I post the answer key later, not all the answers are on there, which is a little disappointing. You know what I'm saying? Because the formula answer isn't on there. I'm going to see if I can. I don't have any way to scan it when I'm at home. And I just noticed that last night when I was kind of walking through some of them, and this morning before Math Lab, that she doesn't have the actual formulas that she asked for. She just basically is finding the, like, she puts the answer for, like, for number 28, she puts the answer for D down, but she doesn't put the actual, she doesn't write the formula. And here she finds A14, but she doesn't write the formula.
Okay.
So hopefully some people will be checking out Math Lab, because I don't think I can scan from home. I don't have a scanner. Okay, so for this one, but once again, we're going to plug in what we know. So we know the value of the 10th term. We don't know the common difference. So we'll plug in the D. And then n minus 1 is going to be 9. Does that make sense to you if I don't?
Yes.
Okay, good. And then plus a negative 2. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So that's going to be 45 equals 9D and 5 equals D. So the common difference is D, is 5.
Okay.
And then to get the formula, just to make sure that you have plenty of practice on that, because I know finding the formula is on the test tomorrow. And I just want to make sure I review that well in Math Lab. So you'll put in the common difference, n minus 1 plus a negative 2. And then you distribute, because this seemed to be, I think Miss Wynn also told me in her classes, this seemed to be the part that kind of trips some people up, is this distributing to get the final thing. So you've got a negative 5 and a negative 2. So that's going to be minus 7. So the formula is AN equals 5N minus 7.
Okay.
Is this making a little more sense on how to get it set up and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. For number 29, you're going to plug in what you know. We've got 2 equals, we don't know the common difference. So we'll plug in a D for that part. And then 21 minus 1 for the n minus 1 is going to be 20. And then plus 10 for our A1 value.
Okay.
Subtract 10 from both sides. And that gives us a negative 8. Beautiful fraction that we have. Yay. Or a decimal if you prefer decimals. Negative 8 divided by 20 is negative 0.4. I'm going to erase a little bit of this. And then we'll plug that in to find our formula. Negative point. The first time I worked this, I forgot to put my negative. Really messed me up. Negative 0.4 n plus 0.4 plus 10. So our formula is negative 0.4 n plus 10.4.
Okay.
And so then you'll just plug in a 14 into where there's an n. I'm going to go up here. And that's a negative 0.4. And I get a positive 4.8. What did you get?
That's what I got.
Okay. I always feel better when two of us get it.
Yeah.
And I would say that's what's on the answer key, but I've found so many errors that I don't even always trust that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I did not have any questions on this next section, 30 through 33. I'm happy to go through it if you want me to.
I'm good on that section. So.
Okay. So I was going to skip on down to 34, where I had more people email me about this section. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're supposed to write a formula for the geometric sequence and then find the indicated value. So once again, up here, I'm going to go ahead and write the formula for a geometric sequence so we kind of know what we're working with. So in this first one, we're given the value of the fifth term and we're given the common ratio, but we don't know what the value of the first term is. So let's just plug in what we know into the formula and put a variable where we don't know something. We don't know what the value of a sub 1 is. We do know what the common ratio is. It's a negative 1/2. And the n minus 1 that we have, we're working with the fifth term. So that's going to be 5 minus 1. So this is going to be negative 1/2 raised to the fourth. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So negative 10 and then a sub 1 and then negative 1/2 raised to the fourth. What is that? That's negative 2, 4, 8, 16. Negative, that's going to be a positive 1/16. Did y'all get the same thing?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So to undo multiplication, this is being multiplied by 1/16, you divide. Or to get rid of a fraction on one side, you multiply by its reciprocal, because I'm going to multiply both sides by 16. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
If 160 equals a sub 1. Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the beautiful thing is, this is why I like geometric so much better. It's so much easier. All you do to write that formula is you just plug in negative 160 times 1/2 raised to the n minus 1. Can you read that? Maybe I should write it down here. Sorry.
Yes.
No distributing and all that good stuff. Just do that. So once again, I don't think this is posted. When I post the answer key, this piece is not on the answer key. Only this is.
Okay. Is it still
Okay.
negative 1/2?
Yes, it is. I just forgot to write it. Thank you for catching me. I appreciate that. Hold on real quick if you don't mind. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry about that, guys. I really apologize. I had a celebration moment. Mackenzie had like 6 tests to make up from her concussion.
Oh.
Between not even including the ones that she had to take this week normally. So I don't even know what it is. It's like 8 maybe total. And so she was calling to tell me that she made a 90 something on one of them that was really hard.
Oh, yay.
Oh, that's great.
I know. So I had to take a minute to celebrate because that's a big deal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take a 90 something on any. I don't even remember what it was. I just heard 90 and I quit listening. So thank you for being patient with me. I greatly appreciate it because I know y'all's time is very precious. So thank you. All right. So number 35, and I went ahead and erased 35 so I could at least be prepping so we could get ready for that one. So once again, just want to fill in what we know. Take the formula, fill in what you know. What we know is the value of the 5th term. And the other thing that we also know the 1st term. What we don't know is the common ratio. So we've got R raised to n minus 1, which that's going to be the 5 minus 1. So that's going to be R to the 4th. So we filled in everything that we know based on the information given. Now we're going to divide both sides by 2. So that's going to give us 2401 equals R to the 4th. So now what we need to do is take the 4th root of both sides. And, you know, I don't know that the iPhone calculator does that.
It's 7.
Oh, praise the Lord. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So 7 equals R. So now what we'll do is, because it says to write the formula, we're just going to go back in and do A sub n equals, we know what A1 is, 2 times 7 n minus 1. Isn't geometric wonderful?
Yes.
So much easier.
Yeah.
And once again, ladies, when I post the answer key, the formula is not written. So, but that is, I really want to say, like, tomorrow's quiz test is like 22 problems long. And I really want to say at least 6 of those are writing the formula. So I want to make sure I cover that in Math Lab. Okay. So if there's any questions or about any of those, please stop me.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. What is the information given on number 36? We have the 3rd and the 6th term. But we don't have A1. And we don't know the common ratio. What we can do, though, is take the difference between where this happens and where this happens. So we could take the value of the 6th term, plug in the value of the 3rd term where A sub 1 would normally be, and then figure out what the ratio would be for the distance between these. So 6 minus 3 would go here. Does that make sense to you guys? Instead of n minus 1, we're going to do 6 minus 3 because we know it's a geometric sequence. That common ratio is going to happen, 3 times between 6 and 3. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So 486 equals negative 18 times R to the 3rd. Divide both sides by negative 18. These are the things that I need y'all's help with. No, this one I can actually handle on the iPhone. I got negative 27.
That's what I got.
Praise the Lord. And then you're going to take the cubed root of both sides. And so that's going to be a -3. And so now we're supposed to find a sub 1. So we'll take one of our values. Let's just work with the smaller one. A sub 1. And then R. Oops. And that would be the difference between 3 and 1. So that's going to be 2. Did you see where I got that?
Yes.
Because I'm using this value here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be n minus 1, which is going to be 2. And then -18 equals a1. And then that's going to be 9. Divide both sides by 9, and you get -2 equals a sub 1. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So number 37. Plug in what you know. So we're going to take the 4th term value at 960. And we're going to take the 2nd term value at 1500. And we don't know what the R is, but the distance between the two of them is 2. So we're going to do R squared. Now we're going to divide both sides by 1500. And then my suggestion is to reduce. And this is where you could do the factor tree, but for the sake of time, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret that it is 16 over 25. So apparently 1500. 60 goes into both of these, but I guess that makes sense.
Could you do it in decimal form?
I don't know. Can you what does the square root of that turn out to be?
It'd be 0.64, and then the square root would be 0.8.
Okay, cool. That works for me. That works. I'm glad that you did that. I'm going to write that down here too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's 0.64 equals R squared. Did I write it right?
Yes.
And then 0.8 equals R. All right. So we'll just do that your way to find out what A6 is. So then we'll do we also have to write the formula, don't we?
Oh.
Yay, one extra step. I think maybe for the sake of time to get to the other ones, I might just go ahead and do A6. Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah.
All right. So if you plugged in a to the 6th and you cheated and you used your 2nd term times 0.8 raised to the difference between 6 and 2 is 4. So it's going to be 0.8 to the 4th. Let me see. I'm going to turn my iPhone calculator sideways. Do you get 0.4096?
Yes.
Okay, for that part, and then times 1500. Do you get 614.4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For the sake of time.
Yeah.
But if you were trying to find the formula, but that's a lot on that one. I don't know if maybe she probably, I don't know. She probably should have said, right, find the missing term for the overall instructions for that. All right. How about 38 through the next one that I got an email about with regard to questions is at 44. Do you have any questions before that?
Um,
And if you do, that's fine.
Could you do 43?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're supposed to find the indicated sum for the series. So the thing that just to note all the time when you're trying to find a sum for a series, and it's not telling you, oh, is it arithmetic or geometric? Remember, the distinguishing difference is if there is no exponent, it's arithmetic. If there's an exponent, it's geometric. So that'll help you to know which one of the formulas to use. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we know that number 43 is arithmetic. So our arithmetic series formula is n times the value of the first term plus the value of the last term. In this case, it's going to be number 24, divided by 2, multiplied by the total number of terms in the series. And I always have this default method of finding the specific n by taking that top number, subtracting the bottom number, and adding 1. And I know that that looks like a tedious thing to do, particularly when you're like, Miss Sparks, it's given. But it's not always that simple. So if you kind of make a habit of always doing that, you won't default to just picking the number on top, which might not be the right one if you're not starting with the number 1.
Okay.
On the bottom of that summation symbol, like numbers 44 and number 45. See, the bottom numbers on those two are not ones. So that makes them a horse of a different color. So our n in this particular case is 24, like the top number. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. And so our total number is 24. Now, to find the value of the first term, you just plug in a 1 in this formula. So that's going to be 4 times 1 is 4, minus 7 is a negative 3. Plus, now we'll plug in 4 times 24, which is
96.
96 minus 7.
It's 89.
Thank you for being my calculator, sweet girl. I need that help. Okay, 89 minus 3 is 86. Divided by 2 is 23. Times 24.
552.
Oh. That's not what the answer key is, but doesn't always make me confident.
Is it?
So, negative 3 plus 89 equals 86 divided by 2 equals 43 times 24. I got 1,032 on my little iPhone. What'd you get?
Oh, I think I added it.
Oh, okay.
That's what I got.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, that would make it different.
Yeah.
All right. So 1,032. All right, for number 44, this is a geometric series. So we use a different formula. And we also, that's going to be S sub n and it's going to be A1 I'm looking at the formula. Hang on. Yes, A1 times 1 minus R and the number of terms all over 1 minus R. So the common ratio. The common ratio is what's in parentheses. So the first term is, oh, it's not going to be 64. It's going to be this term right here.
Wait, which one?
The
3, okay.
You're going to plug in 3 for K. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So it's going to be 1/2 raised to the second power. So that's going to be 1/4. And so that's going to be 64 divided by 4, which is 16. And then 1 minus, and then to find what your common, that's going to be 1/2 raised to the number of terms in the series, which that's going to be where I do 10 minus 3 equals 7 plus 1 equals 8. So there's 8 terms in this series all over 1 minus 1/2. And this is good old calculator work here. So, I think on the iPhone, I don't think I can use parentheses as great as you can on yours. So you're going to have 16, like open parentheses, 16 times open parentheses 1 minus 1/2 to the 8th power, close parentheses. Like your 1/2. What? Does that make sense? Or you could do 0.5.
Yeah.
Raised 0.5. This is when it really would help if I had one of y'all's types of calculators.
I don't think I did it right. I got like 31.875. Is that right?
That's what I got too.
Okay. And the answer key has 255 divided by 8. 31.875.
Okay. That's what I got.
Okay.
Yay. Good job. I appreciate y'all being my calculator. All right. On this one, we're back to arithmetic. And so the arithmetic formula is A1 or A first term. And in this case, it's going to be the 6th term. Does that make sense? Plus
yes.
The value of the 39th term, all divided by 2. And this n is going to be the 39 minus 6, which equals 33, plus 1, which equals 34. So that n is going to be 34.
Okay.
And then the value of the 6th term, you plug in the 6 here. So that's going to be 12 minus 38. Negative 26. And then you're going to plug in a 39. So 2 times 39 is 78 minus 38. So 40 divided by 2. So I've got negative 26 plus 40 divided by 2. So that's 7 times 34 is 238. Is that what y'all got?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay. Good. All right. So the next one I got emailed about, let's see, I got 44 and 45 were emailed about. And then I wasn't emailed about any of these. How about anybody need help on those?
Could you just do like one of them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can do all of them. Whatever you ask me, I will absolutely do, and I'll stay here as long as y'all need me to. All right, so we're supposed to determine whether this series is convergent or divergent. And just to remind you of what the differences are on those is the convergent series is when it has a when the ratio is the absolute value is less than 1. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then it's convergent. And this really weird thing is, even though it goes on into infinity, you still can get the sum of it as long as the ratio, the absolute value of the ratio is less than 1. If the absolute value is greater than 1, it's divergent. So you cannot get a sum of an infinite series.
Okay.
So if it's convergent, you can. If it's divergent, you cannot, as long as the absolute value is less than 1. So what you would have to do, everybody's favorite thing in the whole wide world, is to have a complex fraction. But to confirm whether it's divergent or convergent, you take the second term and divide it by the first, which is really the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal.
I got negative 0.5. Was that?
It is negative 0.5. It took me longer than it did you. Good old calculators. But you would want to do that just to find out what the common ratio is. And this common ratio is negative 1/2. And so it does mean that it's convergent. So we can get a sum on it. So you'll plug that in to the infinite sum. Oh, I was going to go back up, acting like I really had it. It should be written at the top of your page on this one. But the series formula for an infinite geometric series is S sub n A1 over 1 minus the common ratio. So we'll plug in what we know, and that's going to be negative 3/2 over 1 minus a negative 1/2, which is negative 3/2 over 1. That turns to be 1 plus 1/2, which is going to be 3/2, which negative 3/2 divided by a positive 3/2 is a negative 1. So the sum is negative 1.
Okay.
And then This next one, 6 divided by 24 is 1/4. So the sum for this one, you take the value of the first term, which is 24, and you divide it by 1 minus the common ratio. So that's going to be 24 divided by 3/4. Keep, flip, change. I didn't do that right. There we go. Miss Sparks, you got it now. So it's 32.
Okay.
You probably did it quicker in your calculator. All right. Want me to do some more of these?
Maybe like number 50 with.
Okay, because I was going to say number 48. The ratio is 4, so it's divergent, and you cannot find it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. All right, you said number 50?
Yes.
Okay, cool. You want to check that common ratio, and just to go through, just to make sure that don't assume because it's a fraction that it's going to be convergent, because look at number 51. When you have an improper fraction where the number on the top is bigger than the number on the bottom, then that's actually going to be divergent.
Okay.
Just because it's a fraction doesn't make it convergent. You want to make sure that it's less than 1. All right, let's go back here. So what we have here for number 50 is we're going to plug in what we know into the formula, and the top is the value of the first term, which is this number right here, 9 over, and then 1 minus 4/5. So that's going to be 9 divided by 1/5. So you should get 45. Because you keep flip change on that. And then we already saw that 51 is divergent. You want me to do 52?
That's okay. I think I can do it.
Okay. Oh, wait. It was one that was emailed about, so I am going to go ahead and do it if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay. So we'll take the common, the value of the first term, which is 54, and then 1 minus the common ratio, which is 1/3. So that equals negative 54 divided by 2/3. So if I keep flip change, oh, guess what? I didn't even notice this. It wants me to start at the 4th term. So I have to find the 4th term first. I was like, wait a minute. Because I was way off her answer, and I was like, I did something wrong. Okay. My bad. Sorry about that. It's a good thing. All right. So you have to find that first term because it's not given. The value of the very first term is given, but the 4th term where they want me to start to the end of the series is not given. So I need to plug in negative 54 times 1/3 raised to 4 minus 1 is going to be 3. So raised to the 3rd power. So that's going to be negative 54. And then 1/3 raised to the third power is 27. So it's going to be negative 54 over 27, which is negative 2.
Okay, that's what I got.
And so negative 2 divided by 2/3. Oh gosh, that's a mess. So keep, flip, change. I get negative 3.
Okay, that's what I got.
Oh, I'm glad we did that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it on the next one either.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just do the next one just to have some extra practice now that we kind of know exactly what we're doing. So we've got, they want us to start at the value of the fifth term. So 5 minus 1 is 4. So we'll take negative 9/2 times negative 1/2 raised to the fourth power, which is going to be a positive 1/16. So that's going to be negative 9 over 32 as our a to the fifth. Our fifth, the value of the fifth term is negative 9 over 32. Definitely testing the old fraction practice, aren't we?
Yes.
So the summation of negative 9 over 32 divided by 1 minus a minus 1/2 is going to be negative 9 over 32. And then this would be 1 plus 1/2. So that's going to be 3/2. So times 2 over 3, because we'll keep flip change. So that's negative 6 over 32, which reduces to negative 3 over 16. Did you do it with fractions or did you do a decimal?
I did decimal, and I got
Okay, what is the decimal?
It's negative negative 0.1875.
Okay, I can't get my the iPhone's not cooperating. So it looks like this. I'm just making sure both answers match.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that is the same as negative 3 divided by 16. So there it is in decimal and fraction. So yay. All right. How are y'all feeling about the application ones?
I haven't actually done any of them yet, so.
Okay. You want me to work through them on Math Lab then?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we have any of those on the test tomorrow?
No, ma'am.
Oh, thank goodness.
Okay, bricks are stacked in a pile with 42 bricks on the bottom row and 9 bricks on the top row. Each row has 3 fewer bricks than the row below it. Write a formula to represent the number of bricks on each row, then determine the number of bricks on the 7th row. So we know that the first term is 42. So that's the first row. It says that 9 bricks on the bottom row, 9 bricks on the top row. We also know, we don't know how many rows apart it is, but we we know that the top row is 9. Oh, wait. And each row has 3 fewer bricks than the row below it. I was like, okay, well, how? So that means that there's going to be a common difference of 3. So because we're subtracting 3 from each one. So A sub n -3, because we got to write a formula. And then n minus 1 plus what was on the first row. And so we're going to distribute that. So -3n plus 45. So that's the formula to represent the number of bricks on each row.
Okay.
And now we'll plug in 7. So it's going to be -21 plus 45 equals 24 bricks on the 7th row. A company is offering a job with a salary of $48,000 for the first year. Then there'll be a 2% raise each year after that. Write a formula to represent the salary after each year of employment, then determine the salary after 30 years. So on this particular thing, it's going to be a common ratio because what you get a 2% raise, but you want to take into consideration the fact that 48,000 is going to be included in there. So you got your first year salary is 48,000. And then you're going to have a common ratio that says you're going to increase that by 1.02. That 1 represents the 48,000, and then the 02 incorporates the actual increase.
Okay.
So formula is pretty easy. You stick in that 48,000, then you write that common ratio, and then it's n minus 1. So love that geometric. And so now to find out where you would be at the 30th year, you just plug in n minus 1. So 30 minus 1 is 29. Oh, and yay for the iPhone calculator. 1.02 raised to the 29th. So that's 1.77584469 and so forth times 48,000. I get $85,240.55. What'd y'all get?
I got the same thing.
Yay! And then here we go. The table shows the number of seats in the first 3 rows of the concert hall. This pattern continues for a total of 12 rows. Determine if there are enough seats for a group of 500 people to attend this concert. Looks like they're increasing by 2, so it's arithmetic. And the first row has 30. The common difference is 2. And we need to know what's in the 12th row. So A12 is going to be the common difference. N minus 1 is 11 plus 30. So that's going to be 22 plus 30. I get 52 seats in that final row.
Okay.
So now I'm going to take the sum of the total number of rows, which is 12. And I'm going to take the seats in the first row plus the seats in the last row, divide that by 2. That's going to be 82 divided by 2 times 12. And I get 492.
Yes, same.
So standing room only. No, they're not going to fit. Not unless somebody sits in somebody's lap. Okay. Any other questions?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Did this help?
Yes, so much.
Okay, good. I'm so glad. Email me if you have any other questions, okay?
Okay. And
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming to Math Lab. It's way more fun when there are people in it.
Thank you. And for tomorrow, what formulas? Do we need to know?
Well, here's the thing. I would study each one of the formulas, both of the sequence formulas and all 3 of the series formulas. Okay. Study them in such a way that if you saw them on a piece of paper, you would recognize them and know which one goes where.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like being able to recognize them. Like have your mom write them down on a piece of paper and have her ask you, which one is this?
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Be able to distinguish what they are. They'll be written for you, but you'll have to be able to know which one goes where and how to use it, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. How to apply it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. No problem. Email me with any other questions. Y'all have a blessed day and know that I'm praying for you.
You too.
You too.
All right. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.